Well, what may surprise some people is that on the list is a US radio shock doc, radio chat show host Michael Savage, who has professed views about a number of things, including rape, homosexuality, immigration. He's written widely a number of books, very popular, listened to American chat show host.
Kid from Queens, New York, grew up reading Orwell, grew up reading Huxley, read 1984, read Brave New World, read It Can't Happen Here, and here it is happening here. And look where it's happening. Look where it's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Savage banned from the United Kingdom because not because of my actions, but because of my views, my political views. Now, this is an emerging story. It will be emerging over the next days and weeks. And apparently, my show has been picked up in England because this just came out in the British newspapers minutes ago. We just got this a moment ago from the Daily Mail UK by James Slack. Talk show host to sue Home Office over link to neo-Nazis and Muslim preachers of hate and list of 22 banned from Britain. Let me read you the article. Updated minutes ago. A U.S. radio presenter who was included on the Home Office's list of 22 people banned from entering the UK is suing the British government for defamation. Mike Savage told the San Francisco Chronicle that being included in such a crowd is no laughing matter, and he is now preparing legal action against Home Secretary Jacqui Smith. And they quote me, "This lunatic is linking me up with Nazi skinheads who are killing people in Russia. She's putting me in a league with Hamas murderers who kill Jews on buses," he said. "I have never advocated violence. I've been on the air for 15 years. My views may be inflammatory, but they're not violent in any way," close quote. He said he has been defamed and endangered by the British government action. Quote, "She has painted a target on my back, linking me with people who are in prison for killing people," he said. "Does she not think people might hunt me down?" Savage said he has had no contact with the British government or with Smith's office and has no idea how he ended up on the Home Secretary's list, close quote. So it is emerging, and we'll give you the latest news throughout this hour, the next hour, and tomorrow on the Savage Nation. But you have to understand that your world has changed, as has mine. You may think this is only about me. You are wrong. It's about all of us. It's about every person in America who reads, any person in America who writes, any person in America who blogs, any person in America who speaks, any person in America who has a radio or television program. It is about all of us. The whole point of this is that it's about all of us. And that's why I say this story is not going to go away, unfortunately. I, again, will hold out a hand to this creature in the Home Office, who, by the way, by all polls, will be thrown out of office very soon, and I will sue her as a private citizen. I do not know if she is going to be protected by British law. We will find out very shortly. If not, I will sue her for defamation. But I will tell her that she has a chance right now to make right by me. If she will send a letter of apology to Michael Savage saying she was misinformed, if she will remove my name immediately from this list of individuals, I will consider removing my threat of a lawsuit. Otherwise, I will not stop until I am in a court of law in England, and Home Secretary Jacqui Smith, who will soon be private citizen Jacqui Smith, has to face me and has to answer for what she has done to my reputation and my name. I have spent my entire life building my reputation. I have earned degrees from great universities. I have written over 25 books that have been published. I have saved many, many plants in rainforests. And I will not have some little twit in the British government defame my name unto infinity. I will defame her name. Her name will be darkened, not mine. I am a national treasure. You are a national disgrace. There's a wonderful article written by Ben Shapiro, Savage's Badge of Honor, where he writes the following. He said the British government's decision to ban Michael Savage from entering the UK based on his political viewpoint and opposition to the global domination of Islamic Sharia law puts Savage in the same company as Winston Churchill and Prime Minister Gordon Brown in the same company as Neville Chamberlain. Remember, Savage is the recipient of the Talkers Magazine 2007 Freedom of Speech Award. He is an ardent advocate for liberty and freedom and a leading opponent of global Islamofascism. During the 1930s, Neville Chamberlain pursued a policy of appeasement that brought Europe to its knees before Adolf Hitler. Even as Hitler planned his domination of the globe, the BBC banned Winston Churchill, Hitler's leading political opponent, from the radio. Even after the beginning of World War II, the BBC censored Churchill, considering him too inflammatory in his description of the Germans. Today, as Britain gradually kowtows to Islamofascism in the form of domestic acceptance of Sharia law and radical Muslim rallies, they seek to censor Michael Savage in the same way they censored Churchill. By placing Savage on the same list as representatives of Islamic terrorists and neo-Nazis, the Brown government has attempted to draw a moral equivalence between those groups that speak out against Chamberlain-esque appeasement of Islamofascism and the appeasers and Islamofascists themselves. This moral equivalence is utterly false, and worse, it is dangerous not only to free speech values, but to the continued freedom of the West against those who would seek to enslave it. Brown will be listed in the history books alongside Chamberlain as an appeaser of tyranny, and Savage will be listed alongside Churchill as an advocate of liberty. Today's Gordon Brown-led British government is an appeasement-oriented as its 1930s predecessor. This lunatic, Jacqui Smith, in my opinion, has defamed me, and if possible, I will sue her personally. This is the Savage Nation. How do you feel about England banning Michael Savage? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that this is a good thing for freedom? Do you think that this is a good thing for liberalism? Do you think that this is a good thing for America to do? Do you think that I should be banned from the UK for denouncing the acts of terrorism committed and promoted by other individuals on the same unwelcome list? After all, I've denounced them. I've denounced the murderers that they list on that list. But to put me in the same list is astonishing. And what about those who compile this list of people to be banned from England? We were put on that list for our particular beliefs. Is that not correct? Well, by their own definition, shouldn't they be banned from their own country? Well, and by the way, did Reverend Wright make that list? Did Reverend Wright make that list? Is he banned from England? Was the mass murderer Kim Jong-il banned from England? My talk neither tolerates or encourages acts of violence, and yet it has been placed on the same level as those who have committed murder and acts of terrorism, and that shows you just how far England has fallen, and fallen, and fallen, and fallen. And we're going to talk about that today. The phone number here is 1-800-449-8255. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please hang up and don't listen to this program. Because if you don't read the web and you don't know what's going on in the news, you are a person out of touch with reality. Many of my colleagues in the media have reacted with horror, some of whom are liberals. They're astonished, they're offended, they're frightened, they're angered. To ban a person for their speech when apparently this woman has never listened to my show. My show is not broadcast in England. When has the Home Secretary of England listened to the Savage Nation? And which particular show has she listened to? Something is wrong with this picture. I believe this is coming from somebody in the United States government rather than from England itself. But again, I want to remind you, if you're a new listener to my show, and many of you are now listening for the first time around the world, that you can hear the show on the Internet, or you can see what I'm about by going to michaelsavage.com. Why don't you look at some of my books and read them for yourself and see if they pose a threat to the safety or order, or whether it promotes intercommunity tension or such. Intercommunity tension. Isn't that interesting? I would believe that Jacqui Smith is promoting intercommunity tension with this ban. The fact of the matter is, this is a very, very strange woman indeed. She has tried to restrict the word terrorism.
Those that were won and lost somehow don't seem to matter very much anymore.
Who makes the final decision?
The final decision is made by me on the basis of advice that we gather from across government, looking at what we have set down as the criteria for unacceptable behaviour: fomenting or justifying or glorifying terrorism or serious crime, or expressing views that are likely to cause intra-community tension in this country. So we've set down what those unacceptable behaviours are, and that we'll only lift that exclusion if you can positively demonstrate that you have turned your back on the actions or the attitudes that you had previously.
They'll only lift the exclusion if you can positively demonstrate you've turned your back on the actions or attitudes. Thought control! The Obama administration is much more clever than that. They would never institute the fairness doctrine as a direct assault because you could nail them for what they are. Instead, they're doing it in this way. Instead, they're doing it in that way. Instead, they're going to do it in ways you could never imagine. That is the art of war, my friends, and make no mistake about it, we are facing an enemy that we have never faced in this nation before. Did you know that I'm an ardent advocate for liberty and freedom and the leading opponent of global Islamofascism? Did you know that after the beginning of World War II, the BBC censored Churchill? They considered him too inflammatory in his description of the Germans? Well, here we are again. Here we are again. This is the world that we have inherited.